Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Gaming with me, Tony Mo, and we're back here with some more Star Citizen. Today we're going to be looking at the MISC Reliant concept that was recently released. I'm not actually planning on buying any more ships in Star Citizen. Like I said, I've supported them more than enough in my opinion. I'm more excited about seeing new ships just because of the prospect of seeing these ships available when the full game releases. But I figured it was worth checking out the actual concept for the MISC Reliant anyway, seeing what it's all about, you know, talking about its visual qualities and I guess its statistical qualities and its purpose inside of Star Citizen in the persistent universe. So again, they've done their typical sort of advertising thing with this. I always love the way that they do this. You know, you actually have MISC, and then here is their actual letter to the consumer. So we got, greetings citizens, new for model year 2946, it's the MISC Reliant. Following on the success of the Freelancer Built for Life campaign, MISC has begun development of a smaller, introductory class spacecraft that can be operated by a single pilot. Although roughly designed to compete with the RSI Aurora and the consolidated Outland Mustang, the Reliant is a very different animal. From the broad, sweep wings to the multiple flight modes and the second, fully articulated cruise seat, the Reliant is a small ship with a great deal of potential. Now, right here you'll see one of the most important things about the visual design elements of the Reliant, and that is the fact that it does indeed use copious use of Jean technology. So MISC has had a contract out with Jean. That's sort of the part of the lore of Star Citizen. So they use a lot of the different elements that are found in Jean ships and a lot of the technology. But for me, when I see this image right here of the MISC Reliant, I can't help but think classic Star Wars, like 4, 5, 6. Anything with a bubble window usually starts to feel Millennium Falcon to me, but there's just something about the bubble and then having these two really wide expansive wings with these turrets on the end that just, I don't know why. It just feels so Millennium Falcon to me, but it looks nothing like the Millennium Falcon. It's just something about it. I really do like the base design of this ship. One of the cool things about it, you can see the design process, a word from David Hobbins, and how they kind of built this thing. And you can see right here, Japanese aesthetic was one of the things he was going for in his design notes. I think that there's something really cool about the fact that that's kind of where he got his idea for the ship from. I love how they share this sort of stuff. That's one of my favorite things about the way CIG has been doing development, is hearing from the individual artists. Like, I want to hear from the dude who worked on this ship, and that's what we get to see there. He even talks a little bit about the challenges. Making a ship this small and making it a mini hauler was probably one of their biggest challenges, as he said there. You know, how do we make it able to load all this cargo while being so tiny and at the same time allowing it to transform, because that is one of its sort of core mechanics, is the ability for it to transform. So if we can watch this video right here, we can get an example of that. So let's go ahead and zoom out here. And you can see how the thrusters, they switch from being vertical to horizontal, you know, in the different flight modes. You got the different wings and flaps all over the place that disengage. It even rotates, as well as all the turrets down on the bottom. Very, very interesting ship design, indeed. And we also got the, you know, dual cockpit, so two people can actually sit in this ship. This is also the first starter ship, in my opinion, that seems generally built towards one specific purpose. They are still calling it, you know, sort of jack of all trades ship, but I think I like the fact that it seems a little bit more purpose-built as a mini hauler. Because that's one of the things for me that has always kind of been concerned. We keep seeing all these new ships, and I'm like, okay, that's great. But what about, you know, the ships that are actually going to be available in-game? The ones that we're actually going to buy? Number one, not everyone is going out buying all these different ships with real money. We're waiting for the game to come out. That's what I'm waiting for. That's what I'm waiting to do for the Cutlass. And I know that those ships are going to take me a while to purchase. So what are my options from a starting perspective? You know, there shouldn't just be one ship. When you go to the car dealership, there isn't just one, you know, tiny little Honda Civic in the corner as your starter car for, like, you know, a tuning or a sort of, you know, building type car, something you want to work on. You know, you have multiple things. You could go with, like, you know, a Jetta, or a, you know, you could go with something from Mitsubishi, something like an old Eclipse GSX. You know, there are options, and there need to be those same sort of options in the beginning of the game for Star Citizen. You know, we can't just be tied down to sort of jack of all trades ships like the Aurora, which can have a ton of guns, or like the Mustang. You know, I want a ship that is much more purpose-built, and I think the Reliant is very much that. No doubt you could still use this for combat and so on and so forth, but I like how it is more, again, directed towards being a hauler. I think there's something really cool about that. And again, I'm just absolutely head over heels with the visual design of this ship. If we take a look a little bit more at this, we can see the dual cockpit here. We got two seats. It's actually really roomy as well. And when you look at the interior, I love what they're doing with the design of that. Again, it fits that that sort of era in space that I really love. You know, some of my favorite spaceships, you know, not just in Star Citizen, but in anything, Star Trek, Star Citizen, you know, Starship Troopers, whatever you name it, are the spaceships that seem like they were almost capable of exploring the depths of the ocean. You know, that sort of alternate reality of like, we know so little about what's in the ocean, and just like we know so little about what's in space. And this ship's sort of manta ray appearance lends to that even more, and that huge open glass cockpit just feels like something out of, you know, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. I love that kind of stuff. It's one of the few things that I like about the Constellation is that huge open glass cockpit. But here's a closer view of the loading thing. We kind of get scale of what a pilot's going to look like here. We kind of already saw that in the seats, but he's standing in a bad placement. Hopefully one of those thrusters doesn't engage. He's going to have a toasty hair day, and a little bit more of it actually in transformation. So whenever I see a ship that transforms like this, I instantly think, you know, like Boba Fett, his transforming ship that he always had. You can see xenotechnology here. So again, hybrid Sean Scout technology into this thing. I just love the way they do it. They do really good marketing, let's put it that way. If they want people to buy this ship, they're doing a good job of that. For those of you who may be interested in actually buying this, it's available for $50. They talk a little bit about future variants. They already kind of have named these. So they have the Researcher, science-orientated model, the News Van, designed for deep space broadcasting, and the Skirmisher, which is a little bit more combat-focused. So you're definitely going to be able to fit this ship how you see. But again, I'm really happy to see something from the get-go for those of us who are going to be jumping right into the persistent universe, who are going to have more options beyond, in my opinion, what is the very combat-orientated Mustang and the sort of doesn't really know what it wants to be the Aurora. I mean, yeah, they're purpose-built, but from a visual standpoint, neither of those ships fall into a place that I love. I kind of find them to be ugly and unattractive and not really unique in any way. I would be more than happy to make the Reliant my first persistent universe ship, without a doubt. I love the idea of hauling as a starting activity. I think it's a great way to make cash early on. It's a much more simplistic approach, just running missions for other people. And we'll kind of see how this all fits into the persistent universe. But let me know your thoughts on the MISC Reliant. Did you go ahead and pick one up in the concept sale? Or much like me, are you just more excited to see more ships that will be available as starter ships when the persistent universe goes live? Let me know all that and more down in the comment section below, and I'll see you in the next one.